Welcome, everybody, to the Sports on I-40 podcast. We are here this evening to have a little conversation about some of the games that we had seen last week, as well as talk about some recognitions that had come out on the AZ365 website. And we'll get to go through that and see who made, all regional player of the year for the East and the North. We'll go through some of that, and then we'll also give a little recap of the 4A State Girls Championship. It was Flag High versus Eastmark. And also, the 4A Boys State Championship, it was St. Mary's versus Deer Valley. So I think this will be an interesting one because it'll bring a different perspective. Because I know that we mostly, everybody up here mostly pays attention to the 3A North and East, and maybe 2A or 1A. And we tend to forget that there are some other upper divisions as well. This past week was probably the first time I'd ever been to a 4A game. So it will kind of go through, and I'll kind of talk about my experience, and hopefully, you'll have a different perspective on what is going out there outside of the North and East region. But before we do that, I do want to mention this. This weekend is the that tournament that we had mentioned several podcasts ago, the 15th and 16th here in Holbrook. And I do know that's a good turnout. They had a lot of teams, send in, applications or whatever to enter this tournament. So they're expecting a lot of good competition this weekend.
Yeah, they get a high school division, a 14U, a 12U co-ed, and a 10U co-ed. So NASA will just be putting that up, and they'll be here in Holbrook, and I believe it's at the high school, I think.
Yeah, I think they have high school and the junior high.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if I know they were reaching out to get another gym as well to accommodate the amount of teams that had signed up for this. But regardless, if you're in the area or you live nearby and you want to come by and support the team, and I'm sure they'll have some neat things at the concession stand, and just want to spend a Saturday watching some youth games, just come out and be a part of this. It'll be fun to watch. I know we'll certainly be there, and I'll be there to, watch some of the games and see some of the younger players who are coming up into the high school, and give a better perspective on what it could look like at the 3A level, 1A, 2A, and 3 level in the coming future.
Yep, should be good.
So, let me bring this up here as well. So, we're going to talk about. Let me see. We're going to talk about the recognitions that we had mentioned earlier. And they had I'm not sure how long ago this came out. Do you know, Mac?
It was a couple weeks ago, maybe like about 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so this
just
may...
right at the end of this, right at the end of the season.
So this may or may not be news to you, but here we have the 3A East recognitions for boys basketball. And one of the highlights here is Tyler Tabaha was named Region Player of the Year.
Yep.
And
MVP.
And I think we were basically kind of thinking that was going to be the case, right? I kind of thought Isaac David might also, be in the running for that as well. I think he had a great year. He, scored 1,000 points this year as well. Seeing him improve from last year, I thought he did a really good job with that, and I really do think that he was probably a close second for Region Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
But Tyler Taba had another phenomenal year as well.
Yeah, he's back-to-back Player of the Year now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's his second time. So yeah, he put up a lot of points. He definitely a good defensive player, offensive player. He helped major key to Holbrook's game, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some other notable things here. We have, for example, here, Jaron Vicente was named All-Region First Team, which is really great. Let me see here. Oh, Texas James was on here as well. I remember seeing him when they came up here to Altusay to play. He's a really good player as well. Then we have some other ones here. Second team, All-Region. Mason Jay Smith from Winslow, Landon Clare from Snowflake. So yeah, some great players here that were recognized for all this. One of the things I wanted to mention here though, when I was looking through this, is if we look up here at Region Coach of the Year, Joe Clare for Snowflake. Now, I don't know exactly how they determine this. Maybe it's purely by a record or whatever. And I don't want to take anything away from Snowflake. They're a good team. But I guess maybe the way I'm thinking about it, this is maybe the reason why he was Coach of the Year was because they won the region by power points, which is unfortunate because I think Holbrook won. If they went purely by conference record, Holbrook won the East.
Yeah,
but they do conference record plus power points, and because Snowflake had higher or more power points than Holbrook, they ended up giving the 3A East title to Snowflake. And I guess you can say what you want about that, but that's just kind of what they've been doing these past few years. So what I'm trying to get at is, given the amount of the talent that they had at Snowflake, I just felt if you compare it to other teams, like Holbrook, for example, just the way, Coach Delmar Johnson really worked with his team. And to be honest, they had a really limited bench as well, but yet Coach Johnson was able to go out there and put his team together, get them prepared, and they had a great season. And to me, if you look at it that way, I would probably put Coach Johnson up there as being a region coach of the year.
Yeah.
Even probably the coach from Alsace would be another one, and the coach from Winslow too. Those three there, just because, like I said, their teams, they're playing with. I guess what I'm trying to say is they're talent wise. I feel like they were sort of a mismatch in some ways. Yeah. So, look at Holbrook. They had their starting five, maybe plus maybe a sixth and a seventh man off the bench, right? So Holbrook was really limited in the amount of talent, upperclassmen talent that they had. So they really had to rely on them. And when you have a team that's very limited like that, I think it requires phenomenal coaching in order to put them in a position like that. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the last year was Delmar, and I think another reason was because they won the East Conference too, and Vinton's a good coach too from Winslow. He had a lot of upperclassmen. I think they had a lot of seniors in the class, so they used quite a bit of. I would say they had a little deeper bench than Holbrook. I would say, like, experience wise and all that, and they did what they could too, and they got some good wins, against Snowflake and Alsace too. So yeah, and I'll just say I believe his name is oh man, I forget his name, man. His brother was him and his brother played basketball too at one time, and they were both pretty good. Go Klitsch. Yeah. So yeah, they both had good runs too, man. I would put Vin and him just right there, right behind him. So like you said, yeah.
Yeah. So again, I guess maybe the trend is if you win the region, then you're the coach of the year, I guess. But I mean, if you win the region, that means you're doing something right. So
yeah.
But like I said, at the same time, though, if you look at it conference-wise, record-wise, Holbrook should have won the East.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the PowerPoints, Snowflake ended up winning the East because of that.
Yeah.
So that goes to show maybe it's good to schedule games with higher-ranked teams, especially earlier mid-season, because if you play a higher-ranked team, losing to them doesn't hurt your PowerPoints, but beating them does.
Yeah.
So that might be a reason to maybe try to lobby your athletic director to maybe try to get teams that are ranked higher earlier in the season, and it'd probably be more experience for the young men as well. So, do you have any other thoughts about the 3A East recognitions?
Yeah, down in the honorable mention, there was some of our boys too that got their Chase and Travis Salby. Travis and Chase Salby, yeah, they were big men inside, and they were our rebounders. So some recognition to them, and also surprised that the defensive players go up again real quick. I think there's the guy from Mount State and Snowflake were named defensive players of the year, and along with Isaac David for offensive player of the year. So, man, Isaac had a good season this year too, and he reached 1,000 points like we were talking about earlier, and offensively he was critical to the Winslow team.
Yeah. But yeah, congratulations to everybody though. I guess these ranking systems, the way they pick these things, they're not perfect, and I know everybody's going to have their own opinion about who they thought should be here or there. But regardless of that, though, it doesn't take away from the fact that a lot of these, Snowflake, Altusay, Holbrook, Winslow, they all had great seasons this year, and it was really competitive. And I guess it's what I like to see is very competitive basketball. Close games. Those are the most exciting games, and it was neat to see this race towards the end to try to win the East.
Yep, definitely.
So let's look at the 3A North, and everybody's going to have to forgive me because I'm not exactly extremely familiar with every single player on the boys' side of the North. So here, Region Player of the Year, Tyree Stingley. I know that he had a great season with Page, right?
Yep.
And they managed to, win their first game in the Comper. I think they lost in the second round, right? To was it Yuma Catholic?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember seeing that. I'm like, man, they have to travel all the way down to Yuma for that game. Wow. Let me see. Coach of the Year, Justin Smith from Page. That sounds about right. I guess in this one here in particular, I guess there's no arguing that because Page, I'm not sure if they won the East pretty easily, or not the East, the North pretty easily, but I think they were the best team.
Yeah, they were the regular season champs, I guess. But in the tournament, the tournament held in Chinle, they lost to the Chinle boys.
Oh yeah, that's right. In their North Region tournament.
Well, I don't think they count that in the not in the rankings and all that.
Yeah, it doesn't count for PowerPoints or anything like that. Yeah. So if you look through here, there's some other notable names here. One of the things Mac and I were looking at this prior to the start, and we noticed that they have a lot more people on their honorable mentions list as compared to the East.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess there's a lot of notable people to mention in the North as well. So, if you look up here,
Defensive Player of the Year with Jaylen Brown. Yeah, he's a good player, man. He'll be back next year too. So we're only seeing a little bit of what he's capable of. And Joseph Benali, he's another good player for Page too, man. I'd see him doing big things after this and all that.
Yeah. So keep it up, everybody. Up in the North region, there's still, if you're not graduating this year, you still have next year to look forward to and improvement and see what you can do over the summer and hopefully work on some things that you did in the off season.
Yep.
So moving over to the girls' side, the 3A East. So I want to go through here. Region Player of the Year, Raquel Wilson. And I remember I had mentioned several podcasts ago that I thought Raquel Wilson was the Region Player of the Year. And I guess, and I really do think that she deserved it. She was definitely, I would say, the best girls basketball player this year. She really helped Sholo, had a great game. It's quick. There's just nothing but praise for her game there. If we look here, the Region Defensive Player of the Year, was that Raya Denhalter from Snowflake? Yeah. Region Defensive Player of the Year, Jaylee Boyce from Sholo.
Man.
When I think of defense, one of the persons that I think of is she wasn't in the East, she was in the North. DeVay Willie.
Yeah.
I remember she guarded Channing Harrington in the first round of the playoffs, the play-in or whatever.
Oh,
And she had no problem with Channing Harrington's quickness. I remember seeing that. Again here, Mike Brogan from Snowflake won Region Coach of the Year, and there's no way to argue about that. Snowflake girls won the state championship in the 3A.
yep.
They were a tough team this year. I think the only team that they had trouble with really was Sholo girls, and I know that Sholo had the better of them every time they played this year. Actually, I think they beat them once, right?
Yeah, they had an even match.
So this year, I guess it was interesting because of the Copper tournament, and I think it really affected the 3A East or the 3A tournament, state tournament, because you had Sholo, they ended up losing to Phoenix Country Day, and then you had Tuba City losing to Page, right? So a lot of these good teams from the 3A North and East, they ended up not being able to play for a state championship because they managed to move forward in the Copper division.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to, I guess for the boys, the Copper tournament makes sense, but for the girls, I really kind of think that it's probably not a good idea because, like I said, but then again, look at Phoenix Country Day. They won the 2A state championship as well. So maybe in some ways it worked itself out. But I don't know. I'm thinking of our conversation with Coach Perkins, and I'm kind of sharing his criticism on the Copper tournament.
Yeah.
But regardless, Snowflake had a great year this year, and congratulations to them. And I think they have a lot of their players coming back, right, for next year.
Yeah, they do.
Mm-hmm.
Some other ones to mention here on the first team is Caitlin Balone from Winslow, Chan Harrington. I believe Caitlin's a senior this year, and Chan, she's just a freshman, so she'd have a few more years to go in play and all that. And Dave Guerrero, she did an excellent job. She really picked it up towards the end of the season and really stepped up for Holbrook, and I see that happening.
Yeah. Second team all region, Elena Yazzie. She had a great year too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look some other names here. Oh yeah. Actually, that's North. We'll talk about them in the North. Tatum Moore. I think I remember who that person is from Sholo. It'd be cool if we had like highlights or something we could like put together of each player or something.
Yeah. I don't know why I keep thinking I'm gonna see like some of the Payson girls in here. I keep forgetting.
They're in the Central
or
Metro or something like that, right?
In the East somewhere, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But anyways, congratulations to everybody who made the recognitions here. We can go to the honorable mentions. We have a couple players from Holbrook, Jordan Claw and Bailey Williams. Bailey Williams, she had a great year at the post. Like I think Coach Perkins mentioned, they basically have all guards, but Bailey Williams was playing the post down there. She did a good job with that position.
Yeah. Then we got Taylin and Maya Yazi here for honorable mention too. Maya's she's a freshman too, so she's coming up, and we'll probably see her up in the wards in the next few years. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great. Let me see. Let's go to the next part here. So we'll go to the 3A North. So for the North, first all region, you have DeJoan White from Chin Lee. The Ariana Begay from Tuba City.
Chisa McIntosh.
Karen Mann from Monument Valley. Oh, DeVay Willie made it to first region. Cool. LaCura Yazzie and Taylor Franklin. Second team here, Alyssa Williams from Chinley, LaCura Yazzie from Page, Noella Walker, Aubrey Dotson, Jayana White, Courtney Bitzilli from Winter Rock. Okay, well, neat. Region Coach of the Year, Francine McCurtain from Chin Lee. I guess this one too. I guess this one makes sense. You know, Chin Lee won the 3A North region conference. They also won their region tournament as well.
Yeah.
You know, I say that this makes sense because they won the region, right? I guess okay, here's the difference. Chinley won their region straight up. I think they were undefeated in their region all year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Snowflake, it was a 3A race between them, Winslow, and Altsay and Holbrook, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, Holbrook had the better record conference, but Snowflake ended up having more power points. So I guess that's my criticism, I guess, of that one. Not to bring that back up again, but I don't want to sound like I'm contradicting myself by saying that Chinley won. They just won because they won their region, but you know they won all their games in the region, and I think this one certainly makes sense.
Yep.
Let me see here. Region Defensive Player of the Year, Jaden Lynch from Chinley. Faith James, Region Defensive Player of the Year.
Offensive
player. Okay.
Yeah.
Offensive player. Yeah. Faith James had a really great season this year. She also joined the 1,000 points club, right, this year as well. And I think she did that in like the first round of the playoffs or something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty early in there, and they had a good run against Payson. I think it was I can't remember what was the point spread on that.
Who they Ganado versus
Payson. They played Payson, I believe.
No, Chinley played Payson.
Oh, Chinley. Yeah.
And Ganado played Snowflake. And I think they lost by 10. Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Faith James had a great season this year, and hats off to her for being Offensive Player of the Year. The next one, Koyazi, Region Player of the Year. She had a great year this year as well. What are your thoughts on Koyazi being the Region Player of the Year?
Yeah, she did good. I see her. I see big things for her in the future. I know Dijon White got an offer to one of the junior colleges around, and I see that happening for Koa too. She was a captain of the team. She carried, and her mom being the coach too. You know, that's what she's her mom set for her, I guess, like her standard and all that. So, you know, I see her going pretty far after high school.
Yeah. Yeah, she was definitely a great player. Admittedly, I didn't really catch a whole lot of Chinley games this year. I think I've seen maybe a couple. The first one when they played Sholo earlier in the year, and then when they lost to Payson in the state championship. I want to say those are the only two games I saw of Chinley this year. Mm-hmm. I think I saw more Monument Valley games. I would say Monument Valley was the only team I followed the most.
Yeah.
I think I only followed them in the 3A North. Not because of whatever. It just kind of worked out that way because Holbrook played them up there in Monument Valley, and then they came down to Snowflake
locally.
Yeah, for the first round of the Copper, and then they played Snowflake again in the second round of the 3A state championship. So, anyways, yeah, I got to see a lot more Monument Valley games this year, and so I guess that's why I think I'm more familiar with Karen Mann's play than everyone else.
Yeah.
But anyways, do you have anything else? Oh, we can go to the honorable mentions here really quick for those who want to see here. Tyron Gay, Letitia, is it Mute from Monument Valley? Salem Ray, Megan Sandoval. They have a big list here for honorable mentions.
Yeah. Go back up real quick to the first and second team. Okay. Oh yeah, there's a lot of page players there. No, Page played pretty good game too at the end, and they got that win against Miami. They played that good game, and they got pretty far in the copper. But no, I see some of their players up there.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I didn't see them for a little while.
Okay. Well, do you have anything else to mention about this?
I'm good, man.
No? Okay. All right. Well, we'll go to the next thing here. So let's kind of, I guess we can play this and I'll talk about this while this is playing. So I had the opportunity to see my first 4A state or just 4A basketball game in general. I went up there to see Flagstaff girls versus Mingus. And I had never even been to Flag High's gym before, so it was a neat experience to go up there. Mm-hmm. And I mentioned this because I guess maybe a lot of the viewers here are so used to just going to 3A North or 3A East games, right, and being a part of the atmosphere. But going to Flag High and getting to experience a different. I guess in a lot of ways it was still the same. But there certainly were some differences. For one, I don't know why I want to bring this up, but the parking was bad. I don't. Maybe when they first designed the school back in the 50s or rebuilt the school back in the 50s, I don't think they ever thought that it would get that busy there. Yeah. But so if you ever go to a Flag High game, just think about the parking when you go over there. Because you might have to park in an alleyway, like what I had to do over there. The second one, Flag High, their gym is like Mike Star here in Holbrook. It's a 2-level gym. They did manage to put stands behind, so they do have stands on the court as well. But going to the play there, so I've been kind of thinking about this a lot, and from what I can tell, and maybe it's just this year, it could be different in other years, but it kind of seems like 4A girls basketball and 3A girls basketball, there's a difference, but it's not a big difference. I think it ranges from being a half step difference to maybe a whole step, maybe depending on the year. For example, if you look at Flagstaff, they lost to Sholo earlier in the year at that whatever tournament they hold over there in Flag around Christmas, the Pepsi, right? And then I think they lost to Sholo by 2 points. Okay, and then they did play Phoenix Country Day, the 2A school, and they lost to them by 20 points or 30 points. So that's just I get it. That's just a snapshot in time. Okay. You can kind of derive whatever meaning you like from that. But I guess what I'm trying to say is when you try to compare the two, it's like I said, I really don't see a big difference. I know the best teams in the 4A played in the open division, like Mesquite. They were ranked, I think, number 3 in the 4A. South Point Catholic. They also made it pretty far in the open as well. Mm-hmm. So I guess like the 3A this year, the best teams did not play, or at least the top teams, the highest ranked teams did not play in the 4A girls state championship. So maybe in a way, I guess it's kind of like this past year where in the 3A tournament, Chinley didn't play in it, Page didn't play in it, Tuba City didn't play in it, right? Sholo didn't play in it. So I guess they have the luxury of playing a tournament where the best teams are playing somewhere else and you get to play in your own individual tournament. Yeah. So, and I'm not saying that to try to take anything away from Flag High. They were a great team, a really good team this year. There are 2 players that from Flag High. I'm trying to remember what numbers they were. I think number 12 and number 1, I think it was. Or no, number 14 from Flag High. I was really impressed by her play against Mingus, and I believe she had a really good game against Eastmark as well.
Yeah, I believe she had like a 30-point game against the game you watched.
against Mingus. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Eastmark did beat Flagstaff earlier in the year. So I believe if you watch the game, the commentators had a lot more to say about that
Uh-huh.
that loss or that win or that loss they had earlier in the season to Eastmark.
Yeah, in this game here, they played like really good defense in the beginning, the first half especially.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the I can't remember what part of the game, but I seen it like the score was like 5 to like 28 or something like that, 26 or something like that. So they kept them down to a single digit number for a while in the game, and that really let them up and kind of cut them ahead right away at the beginning of the game. And they played really good defense, and Flat Girls, they were aggressive in this game.
Uh-huh. I guess the biggest difference that I see, I guess I want to say there's two or maybe three. The first one, the height. They definitely have a lot more girls that are taller.
Mm-hmm.
And when I mean tall, I'm saying 5'10" to 6 foot range. Right. The second one is the speed. They have a lot more girls in the 4A that are a lot quicker and a lot faster. And the last thing I would say is, I think I get the impression, or it just seems to me that they have a better understanding of their offense in the 4A. They have a lot more command of their offense, a lot more ball movement. It seems like their ball movement and their shot selection has a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that Flagstaff, kind of plays, and maybe that's why they're so successful. Is maybe they catch a lot of these teams from the Valley off guard. Is they're kind of playing a hybrid res ball style of play here.
Yeah,
And I do think that kind of throws these teams off as well, because maybe they're not expecting a high intensity game with a lot of 3-point shots.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said though, Flag High, I noticed that even though they have that offense, I guess it's what Coach Perkins said, that he tries to play res ball with defense. I think Flag High does that really well, but at the same time, I feel like they don't go fully deep into it. They have glimpses of it, but eventually they kind of slow it down. They start moving the ball around, and like I said, their passing and their shooting, to me, when I watch them play, it has a purpose, rather than just being chaotic at times. And I'm thinking of Holbrook when I think of chaotic, because sometimes the girls just kind of went off the rails there and just started shooting.
Yeah,
just started kind of going 100 miles an hour,
yeah,
getting ahead of themselves.
Yeah, the coach here, he's been there for a while. I believe he got his like 200 win like kind of recently or something. 200 or 400 win. I forgot. Coach Shea, and he's been coaching there for a while, and I think he's got these girls pretty good, and his program and all that. They've been pretty successful in the last years. So yeah, a lot of the players too are young. I think one of the only graduates that's from the starting team is at number 14.
Uh-huh.
And I think everybody else is returning pretty much after that. There's some other girls off the bench, but I think they're a young team though. One of the girls that did a good job in this game was that Sunshine Magodi girl, number 2, and she really helped him out offensively or defensively in the first quarter too. And she did answer quite a bit with some offensive points also. And she's only a freshman.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, these girls they've been playing together for a long time, man. I would see them in tournaments and all that, and so they've been doing this for a while. So it's no surprise that they're on this level and they made it this far.
Yeah, I think I saw on the AIA website that Flagstaff won 2 out of the 3. There was 2 out of 3 state championships the past 3 years, right? So they've definitely had some success for sure. Just kind of makes you wonder about the Open. Because I remember Paige used to be they were part of the 4A for a long time as well, right? And if you go back and look in the archives at at the brackets there. It was certainly a lot tougher for like Flag High and I think Page to make it to the very end, you know, back when it was just a 4A tournament. But I have to be honest though, I only seen that game, right? And also the state championship game. So, you know, I've only seen just a snapshot in time. So maybe for sure what I saw definitely does not explain their whole entire season. So if you're a Flagstaff Eagle out there, don't I'm not trying to, you know, be a jerk or anything. I'm just kind of seeing what I saw out there.
Yeah.
But regardless though, it was still good old fashioned basketball. It was just seeing it in a different setting. That setting being Flagstaff. It was neat to experience. They also have a good high school band. I kind of missed the high school bands. I remember, like when I was in high school, I remember going to Holbrook games, and Holbrook had a really good band. Mm-hmm. Not fusion, but an actual, you know, band with the trumpets and tubas and everything, all the instruments. Yeah,
yeah.
And you know, they used to play the Holbrook fight song. I used to hear it all the time. And Flag High also has a great band like that as well.
So they had their own little section up on top. I seen online.
Yeah, their own little section.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, one of the other things I noticed too at Flag High is they have a shot clock and a game clock on top of the goal.
Oh, really?
For the players to see. But one end, so I guess. So
they have two shot clocks.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have one on top of the goal.
Okay.
On both hoops. So I guess
like that one there.
Yeah, like that. Actually, I think it's in that exact same style. Okay. The weird thing was so I guess their court is positioned east to west. So their west side goal, the shot clock numbers were working, but the game clock, it was only showing the seconds. So if you were only looking at that, you wouldn't know what court or how much time was left. All you saw was the seconds.
Oh, really?
So if it was like 4 minutes and 30 seconds in the game, you only saw the 30 seconds part.
Oh, like the minute time was out.
Yeah, the minute time was out, right? And then on the west side or the east side, okay, flip that. When I was talking about, I meant the west side. On the east side goal, it was the opposite. It was the minute side was working, but the second side wasn't.
Yeah. You know, sometimes some of these games happen and players come on the court and they got to recognize where the shot clocks are at. Mm-hmm. You know, I know the one here in Holbrook is like on the wall on the side, just kind of on the side, the baseline. There's only one shot clock too, so maybe that's something they should try changing. Maybe add another shot clock. Maybe that'll kind of keep the game a little more. I know the girls kind of struggle sometimes with trying to beat the clock and all that, and maybe that would help.
Yeah, I think having the shot clock on top of the goal, I'm pretty sure is a lot easier to see than I think Holbrook has theirs like somewhere on the wall.
Yeah,
so you kind of got to know where it's at to see it.
They could maybe standardize that in the whole conference. That would help out a lot.
Yeah, but I think the way they positioned, like the way their goal is positioned at Holbrook, because it has that cross beam that kind of comes out.
Oh, yeah, okay.
To hold it in place.
You got to think about the stretcher, too.
And I think Flag High, theirs was, well, for sure, the way their goal was constructed, you're able to have a shot clock right on top of that. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, there was a lot of fan support from the Mingus side. I'd never been there before, so I didn't know which side was which. So I just went to the left, and here we were sitting on the Mingus side. I don't know. I kind of I think I had my work clothes on because I got off work and just got on the ride and drove over there with my fiance and her mom. And we were over there, and I looked around, and And that's when I realized like we're like in the city, right? And I was like, man, everyone's dressed like a lot of the parents, like the male parents, were like wearing like sweater or whatever with sweatpants and like basketball shoes. And I looked like I just chased in the sheep and ran over there, you know. Um, but anyways, yeah, it was a neat experience to go see. So if everyone, if you're ever curious, I would definitely go out and check out a Flag High game. Plus, they're having a great couple of years so as well. And like Max said, they have a younger team, right? So I would expect them to be just as good next year as well.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll be back. A lot of young players. Dea Nez, she's pretty good too. And they've been playing, like I said, they've been playing together for a long time now. So I'm sure they'll be running this summer together again. So yeah.
So yeah, it looks like Flagstaff took care of Eastmark pretty handily in this game. Beat them by almost 20 points. And another great season for them, Maybe Eastmark. Like I said, Eastmark had beaten Flag High earlier in the year. So maybe it was one of those situations where maybe Eastmark came out and thought, they could just expect Flagstaff to roll over, but that certainly wasn't the case.
Mm.
And I believe this game was played on a Thursday, wasn't it? It wasn't.
Yeah, it was Thursday night.
Yeah, it wasn't a Friday night game. It was a Thursday night. Maybe that's why the crowd size is smaller. I noticed in the next game that we're going to watch, the crowd size was bigger, but I think that's because both teams were from the Phoenix area. So I think there wasn't really an issue with fans coming out to see the next game that we're going to watch. But anyways, Mac, what's your final thoughts on the 4A Girls State Championship?
Yeah, it was interesting, like you said, with the copper and all that, or the open division. Like it worked out for the girls, and for the girls that are in the 4A, I guess, for Flagstaff, and the competition, the tougher some of the tougher competition teams were in the open, so it did make it a little easier for them. And I don't know if you could say like the some of these teams were trying to not win it, I guess, to fall back into this bracket, but I guess it's up to the coaches and the staff to decide that and however they want to do it. So it'd be interesting to see what happens next year and the years to come. So,
I would not be surprised if they decide to do the 1A, 2A, 3A. The 1A, 2A, 3A, like the state champion runner-up playing in another tournament after.
Yeah,
I think that makes a lot more sense than trying
I
to.
think that would, man.
To just do it in the middle of or not in the middle of and at the end of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Whereas, and Coach Perkins is right. I think there's not really a huge difference between 4A, 5A, and 6A. As there is, as opposed to 1A, 2A, and 3A.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it makes sense for the small school open to do something like that rather than do it in the format they did this year.
Yep. And for the boys, for the 4A, I think there was a huge difference, right? Like,
oh yeah. There's a big difference between 4A and 3A boys division. Granted, I'm pretty sure there are probably some like 4A boys probably at the lower end of the win record there towards the bottom of the rankings. I'm sure there are some teams there that would have a hard time in the 3A as well.
Yeah.
So I guess there are levels no matter where you go to, no matter what division you play in. I'm pretty sure there are some 6A teams that are really terrible, and um, maybe compete in 3 or have a hard time in 3A as well. But then again, there are teams in the 6A that are just, you have some players that are like potential NBA players on their team.
Some dominant players.
And like I said, we're up here and we don't really get to, I guess because we don't live in the Phoenix area. We don't really get an opportunity to see these other players play. But anyways, well, I think we get the point. There's 3 seconds left. So I guess we'll go to the last one here. We're going to watch this one. We're going to pick it at the 3-minute mark. This is the 4A state championship, Deer Valley versus St. Mary's. And I want to note that St. Mary's has a player. His name's, his last name is Williams. I can't remember his first name right now. But he's 6'11", and he's got an offer to play at University of Arizona. I think Stanford was another one that I saw. And I don't remember what the other 2 were. He hasn't committed to anywhere yet. But very, very good player. And as I had mentioned to Mac before the podcast when I was watching this, there's a couple players on this team that, let me see, number 13 from St. Mary's. He looks like an adult out there. A grown man playing basketball.
You're talking about that kid right there with the
yeah, number
offers?
1.
Number 1? Yeah, okay. Yeah, the twin boys I've seen play before in some summer tournaments, and they are pretty good, man. They played for a team, Arizona Warriors. I've seen them play in that.
Yeah, I was just surprised to see this level, the caliber of players that they have here at the 4A level. I know there's some other notable players. I think Derek Williams, who played for the University of Arizona, and then he got drafted to the Timberwolves. I think he played for St. Mary's. I think Channing Frye played for St. Mary's.
Yeah, okay.
So, St. Mary's is St. Mary's. It's not uncommon for them to have great players on their team. I don't remember who Mike Bibby played for.
Bradshaw Mountain.
Oh, he's from east of Camp Verde, or Prescott.
Wait, is it not Bradshaw Mountain? Is it Cactus Shadow?
Oh yeah, because he did go back and coach at his school.
Yeah,
when he retired, I know that. Maybe was it Cactus Shadow?
I think it was Cactus Shadow. I get mixed up between the two places sometimes, man.
It's a great shot right there. So a minute left. I guess this is one of the games, if you look at it on paper, I do believe St. Mary's is the higher ranked team as well. But if you just look at it paper wise, it would have seemed as though St. Mary's shouldn't have had a problem with Deer Valley because of the them having some players that are there's a foul on the floor.
Man, that's a close game.
Yeah, he's 6'11", man. He's 10 inches taller than me. 5'11", so 10 inches. Or no, a whole foot.
A whole foot.
Whole foot taller than me. Dang. Yeah, he has a wingspan. Oh, he's also got an offer to Texas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned during the podcast that he reminds me of Kevin Durant.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he kind of has the same body type as Kevin Durant. Plus, Kevin Durant was also, I think, he's 6'11". I think he's actually, when he puts his shoes on, they said he's like 7 foot, Kevin Durant.
Yeah, we'll be hearing about him quite a bit.
Yeah, he's a junior this year, so he'll be coming back for one more season.
So St. Mary's probably in it again next year, huh? Same time. Same thing.
Yeah, they did make it to the second round of the Open for boys. I think they lost to Pinnacle. Is that who I said they lost to in the second round?
Yeah, I think it's what we saw.
But I had mentioned, like I said earlier, you know, on paper.
Oh, man, that's a big call right there, man. Offensive foul.
Yeah, on paper, I feel, you know, St. Mary's, you know, should have had this game pretty easily. But I guess that's why you play the game. And what they call that?
It's called a foul now, I think. We're just going back to Deer Valley, looks like. Oh, no.
Oh, it is. I don't know what that call was. I thought it would have been a foul on Deer Valley on that. They must not have any 3A East refs down there, huh?
Nope. This game did go to overtime, right?
Yeah. For the win, that'd have been big if he made that.
Oh, man.
For the win there, and barely missed that tip.
That's crazy. They had, what, 3 opportunities were there?
Yeah. So kind of fast forward to this. Maybe go towards.
It's close all the way, huh?
Yeah. So 26 seconds left. 1 point game.
It's free throws, man. Are you kidding? So working the free throws. So yes, we played in a tournament yesterday, and you know, some of these like different areas have like their own rules and stuff for overtime. Like you go to New Mexico, a lot of the tournaments over there, if you go into overtime, it's like a first point wins pretty much.
Oh, really?
It's like a do or die, yeah, like a sudden death. And over in Blue Ridge yesterday, the Apaches kind of have their own. They do a shootout. They do a free throw shootout. So you go into overtime. Each player, whoever's on the court, they get 5 players. They all shoot one shot each. So out of the 5 shots, they just add a point for whoever's making them. And I think I seen this twice yesterday. So the team that won it would like, if one team made 3, the second team came up and they made 2 and they lost. They missed their last. Let's see. Their third shooter missed a shot, so that was it. It was over. So yeah, it's pretty interesting rules, man. So you know, if you're a young kid coming up, man, practice your free throws, man. And free throws decide games, man. So practice it all you can.
Yeah, free throws. Free throws and mid range. 3-pointers are great, but when you're getting to the point where you're only shooting 3-pointers, it's time to start thinking about other shots that you can take.
Yeah.
And I guess that continues to be my criticism thus far is that if you look at this game, they had I guess when you have players like this playing the inside game the way they're playing it makes sense and easy to do. But yeah, like I said, I was curious and I decided to watch, and it was pretty interesting to see. I had never seen a 4A, 5A, or 6A game before at this level.
That was it right there. St. Mary's was a favorite, right? You said,
Yeah.
This game. So, yeah.
But I think you could also argue that I think St. Mary's also had, I think the best 4A teams advanced into the, was it the court, whatever rounds next in the Open. Because if you lose in the first or second round of the Open, then you automatically go back to your state championship bracket.
Yeah.
So I think maybe St. Mary's had the luxury of being in the tournament when the best team wasn't there.
I think some of the teams from up here that were in the tournament that I know of is probably just Coconado, maybe Coconado boys.
Mm-hmm.
As far as boys teams, I think they made it to like the first or second round. I think.
Uh-huh.
I remember seeing some of that.
Yeah. Well, we want to bring that up just to give everybody an idea of what basketball is like outside of the 3A North and the 3A East. It's its own thing, and if you look there at that St. Mary's game, I think there's a big jump between 3A basketball and 4A basketball for the boys. Whereas for the girls, I think I think it ranges. I think sometimes maybe it's about the same. Sometimes it's a half step more, and sometimes I think it's a bigger step as well. So I think it just depends on the year, right?
Yeah.
But regardless, congratulations to all the teams that won, the state championship. Congratulations to Flag High. They have a really good program up there, and it'll be exciting to see what they do next year as well.
Yep. The off season starts now, and all these teams, you get the whole summer now to practice your game, maybe increase your chances of going further than the state next year. So, man, practice all you can, man. Work on that game.
Yeah. So, anyways, do you have any? I know you kind of mentioned that part, but is there anything else you want to mention, Meg?
We'll try to get a guest on maybe possibly this weekend. Maybe I did contact somebody, so he sounded like he's interested. So
okay,
we'll see how it goes this weekend.
Great. Yeah, we're always happy to have guests. If you guys know anybody out there, just let them know that there's a podcast out there, the Sports on I-40 podcast. We'd be happy to get people on and give people a voice and let people see what they're doing outside of just their local fans.
Yep.
So, and again, there's a tournament going on here in Holbrook this weekend. If you're in the area, stop by and maybe watch a few games and just enjoy your Saturday doing that. So we are the Sports on I-40 podcast. Please like and subscribe. Please let everybody know that there's a podcast out there, that this podcast is out there. And we hope to get more subscribers and more viewers so that we can bring more content to you and hopefully give you more insight into what is going on in basketball in the North and East regions. All right. Thank you very much.